Hey, welcome on in, everybody. One of the questions that gets asked almost every day on stream. Hey, I'm new to the game, or I'm a returning player after a certain period of time. What characters or teams should I be focusing on? Well, in this video, I'm going to recommend teams and characters based on how much I use them across game modes. This is a highly opinion-based list, so our lists may look slightly different. We're also going to go over some new player tips, so let's get into those. I have a few quick tips for new players. Tip number 1, get an alliance with similar goals to you. If you want to focus on PvE content or PvP, or maybe both, get an alliance that aligns with your focus and what you want to do in this game. If you want to be a serious player, if you want to compete at the highest level, you want to do endgame content, or you want to just chill. Doesn't matter if you get all your war attacks in, or it doesn't matter if you keep pushing your raid lanes. Get in an alliance with similar goals to yours. Alright, tip number 2 is to prioritize your game modes. This will help you figure out what characters to focus on and prioritize building up. As an example, for me, Arena is a priority because of the core generation. Next for me is Raids because that's the only way to get Gear 20 right now. Battle World, Crucible, and War are pretty much all in the same boat. Fun, but they're not the most rewarding. Also, War needs over 20 teams combined, offense and defense. So you can use teams from other game modes in War as kind of filler teams. Anyway, you get the point. Prioritize and focus your build based on your game modes. Find your fun in the game. If your fun is collecting all the characters and not worrying about who's meta, who's good right now, then play the game that way. But make sure that you know your priority list of what your focus is on this game. Alright, and for the third and final tip, it's a quick one, but invest in characters until they do their job. I say this a lot on stream, and I tell new players and returning players this a lot that are trying to catch up to the current meta. How you catch up is saving gear and resources. So invest in characters until they do their job, in whatever game mode that is. If a raid team is working, if you can auto-sim with a raid team, there's no need to upgrade them any further. They're already doing their job. What are they going to do it better? They're going to sim the node better? No. You're going to just win more. I don't know. If they're doing their job, don't invest them in anymore. For me, this lets me hoard resources and makes it so I can keep up with the new characters to invest in. It makes it that I have a gold stockpile, I've got an orb stockpile, a gear stockpile. I'm ready for new characters because I prioritize only upgrading characters till they do their job. Alright, starting with the game mode that I prioritize the most, Arena. Arena right now is kind of just an amalgamation of these characters on the top right of the screen. Defense looks a little bit different than offense right now because on offense you can use Emma and Old Man Logan to stop Odin from getting charges and not gaining all that turn meter, etc, etc. But those characters up there are going to comprise your Arena team one way or another. This is the top end Arena team right now. Obviously with Xavier coming to the game, he is included here, but I don't have him. Most people, 99% of the people probably don't have him right now. But he is impactful, and he will be used in Arena as soon as I unlock him. So these characters, for me, I prioritize this team. Any character from here, I prioritize putting gear into, leveling up to 105, just investing in overall. So these characters are my priority. If a new level tier comes out or new gear tier comes out, generally, I'm going to put them into these characters. Alright, next, let's look at the teams required for the 2 raids that are ongoing right now. The Spotlight raid only requires 2 teams. It's the Alpha Flight team and the Uncanny Avengers team. Uncanny Avengers is a post-Ares team that have very good stats, and the team performs pretty goddamn well in the Spotlight raid. The Alpha Flight team, it struggles a bit more. They're pre-Ares stat characters. If you don't know what that is, check out the video in the top right corner. I highlight all the characters released after Ares that get this post-Ares stat bump from Scopely. Just handing out like Halloween candy. Chaotic Storm raids are a bit different right now. Orcus is a very good raid team used in most game modes. Hive Mind plus Super Scroll for the bio lane is a very old team that works like a wet paper bag. It's not very good. It's rumored to be replaced in the next team release, the Thunderbolts team, so we might just be away with Hive Mind anyway. Next is Night Stalkers. Night Stalkers is a fantastic team. I love Night Stalkers. Blade and Oath, I'm actually going to be taking up to G20 for the Xavier event. And then the newest team, the Vigilante team, the Skill City Raid team. I personally love the Vigilante team. I know they're not very popular. People are kind of disappointed with them outside of raids, but inside of raids, I think they do a really good job, which is never the cause for concern. The raid teams are always going to do great in raids because they base the content around the team itself, so it's not like you're ever going to struggle with a new raid team or something to that effect. So the Vigilante team is fantastic. And then the Mutant raid team is a bit of a wash right now too. It's an older team. Old Man Logan is a fantastic character and absolutely carries that team. Nightcrawler is also actually a really good character still. So Nightcrawler and Old Man Logan both have old world stats, but they're able to carry that team through most of the nodes. I don't do difficulty 5 on that right now. I actually stop just before the Mutant lane, but I do everything else in the Chaotic Storm raid. So for these teams, I would basically say that it's safe to invest in Uncanny Avengers, Orcus, Night Stalkers, and Vigilante. Hivemind and your Extreme X-Men down there, I would probably not invest too much into. Like, I wouldn't take Gambit up to 105 G20. He's an old world stat character. He's not going to do the same thing that he did a year ago, right? A year ago, it's probably a different story. You'd love to take up this team, but for now, I can't recommend those two teams. One of them going to be replaced in the next patch here, so those two teams are out the door. All right, next, let's look at the Cosmic Crucible specific teams that have been released post-Ares or are still relevant today. The Phoenix Force duo of Phoenix and Omega Red Phoenix Force is quite the duo to place on any team to make that team just much better. They both have incredibly high damage stats. Phoenix, since the rework, her stats are actually pretty decent now. Omega Red Phoenix Force hits like a truck. So he's very good. Both of those characters, I would say, are safe to invest in. Star Scammers are a newer team. They're still pretty new. They've gotten a few buffs. They've gotten a couple reworks since they've come out, because they didn't meet any expectations of anybody, really. Now they operate okay. I think they're still not the greatest, but they're at least usable in Crucible now. They do what they're supposed to do. Mortal X-Men is quite a fun team. I like blowing people up with Storm. Storm is one of my absolute favorite characters to use since her rework. Setting up the Storm ult is so much fun, and figuring out when to detonate her ult. It's generally in place of the turn order, but sometimes you want to wait an extra turn, get that offense up, or make sure that they have defense down, or whatever you're waiting for. Picking and choosing with Storm has just made that team so much fun. The next team is Illuminati. Illuminati, they're pre-Ares, but they're still a great Crucible team. They're still a formidable Crucible defense. When you see an Illuminati, they require a certain response. So Illuminati is still very good, offense or defense. And you can sub Captain Brexit with Iron Man, and it's still a decent team. It's not as good without Captain Brexit, but Iron Man is still an acceptable substitute on that team. The next team is offense specifically only, and I would say Cabal, because Cabal runs over some teams still. Cabal is a pre-Ares stat team, but Leader, Namor, Iron Patriot, and Kang are 4 characters that, if you're focusing on Crucible, I would say for an offense, take those characters to the moon and never look back. They are insane. They're so good. They're so fun to use. They're very quick, right? So the 5th on that team can be Titania or any fast villain that can help kind of push that team forward, because any crits give them speed. So you want to be able to crit early, push that speed to Iron Patriot, and then he provides the team, right? The team just rolls so nicely. If you don't use Cabal yet, because you're a newer returning player, check out Cabal, invest in them a little bit, use them a little bit, get the taste of what they're about, and then you'll want to go all in on that team. And then lastly, for Crucible specific team, is the Superior Sinister Six. I love Green Goblin Classic. Spider-Man is one of my favorite, if not my favorite character in Marvel. So naturally, his villains are some of my favorites to play with. Green Goblin Classic does so much work in Crucible, and so does his team. The whole team does. You can make any sort of a team from all of these characters down here, and the team will operate pretty well. Obviously, the optimal team for me, depending on who you're fighting on defense, but it's Doc Ock, Green Goblin Classic, Kraven, Lizard, and Vulture. Now, what I do personally, I don't use Spider Slayer too much, but Spider Slayer can be put in instead of Lizard. Lizard is kind of the one that you can work with in and out of that team. You can substitute him in and out. So Lizard can be substituted for either Mysterio or Spider Slayer, or you can just keep Lizard in there. It's up to you. But I love using this team. It's always fun. I use it every single Crucible. Not that I'm in the highest bracket, but I do use this team in every single Crucible. All right, and lastly, let's look at some war teams here. These are war-specific teams that came out post-Ares or are still relevant, same rules as Cosmic Crucible. The first team is Liberty. Liberty is a new team. They absolutely dominate in war. You don't have to worry about them. Invest in them. They're going to slap for many years to come. They've just got a great kit. They're good in other modes as well. They're relevant in some tower modes and some Crucible, you know, so on and so forth. Liberty's a good team. I didn't think they were when they first came out, but I've come around, and I'm okay with Liberty being one of the better Alliance war teams right now. The next team is, what is that? Uncanny X-Men? Avengers? What? I don't even know what team that is. Whatever team is Hercules, Invisible Woman, Vision, Scarlet Witch, and Falcon on it. I don't use this team. I split this team up, and I put Falcon on kind of a mutant nuke team that was suggested by WAPO. It's basically to juice up the turn meter with magic, give Storm 20 charges immediately, and punch up 3 million and kill whatever you want. I have a short of it on my channel where we nuke a pretty impressive team, honestly. But the second team here, I think it's a cool team. I like Hercules. I like what the team does, but I think Falcon is better used with Storm to juice that turn meter. The third team here is Absolute A-Force. Absolute A-Force is a monster. They're crazy. They're so good. Kahori is insane. Miss Marvel, she's crazy. The amount of charges that she gets makes her so thick and so tanky. Wasp actually does damage now. Medusa does so much damage as well. This team puts out a crazy amount of damage. The only person that I'm not in love with on this team is Ironheart. Ironheart's the only person that I look at and I go, what does she even do for this team? But the 4-piece of Absolute A-Force, even Wasp, you could drop off and say the 3-piece of Absolute A-Force, I would take to the moon and not look back again. They are absolutely fantastic. If you guys know any other video on the channel and you're aware of my love for zombies, the Undying team is, once again, one of the more fun teams to use on offense. I love Zombie Juggernaut, Zombie Scarlet Witch, Zombie Iron Man's interactions. You can pair like a Dormammu with them or whatever you want as a 5th character. An Ares to stop Safeguard on spawn. It's up to you. But the Undying team is worth upgrading as well. Zombie Scarlet Witch is very good. And lastly, the team to wrap up war essential teams for me is the Mercs for Money team. The Mercs for Money team is, I do like 3.5 to 4 million punch up on some teams in war, and it's only investing in Old Man Logan and Dawkins for the most part. The whole team is really good. Deathpool is the one that you can kind of substitute out if you want to put somebody else on the team, you know, to maybe do a little bit better, like an Apocalypse, so you can punch up a little bit more. You know, you can prevent that Safeguard on spawn, that sort of thing. But the Mercs for Money team is another crazy fun team, but most of the fun lies in Old Man Logan or Dawkins. Alright, you can't talk about what characters to farm in this game without considering Dark Dimensions or the Xavier Saga, even the Apocalypse Saga and the earlier legendaries, how you're going to unlock them, so on and so forth. What you see above me here, I'm not going to go through every character or every selection, but basically what I'm trying to do is take the teams and the characters that I already use in some game modes and apply them through Dark Dimension. So I'm trying to optimize a roster and say, if you invest in these characters or these teams, you can use them in several places throughout the game. So you'll see a lot of similarities here between Dark Dimensions 6, 7, 8, and the Xavier Saga, right? The newest entry of Vigilante shows up in every single column. They're just there. Shadow King shows up in several of the columns. To me, these characters are the ones that are safe to invest in. That I would say, take these to the max level, the max gear tier. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, make sure you're prioritizing and leveling up based on your priorities in the game. If it's arena, if it's raids, if it's war, if it's Crucible, figure out your priorities and upgrade the characters. But you can see, this is what I recommend for Dark Dimension 6, 7, 8, and the Xavier Saga as of right now. Alright, and that brings us to the all character slide. This is every character that I've recommended within these last few game mode slides. And what you're going to see here is I've grouped together everybody and how many times they've appeared in my recommendations. So the characters with the 6 you'll see, 5, 4, 3, 2, and obviously 1 is all of the characters down here. If you want to use this as a priority list guide, you know, the characters up at the top there that show up in 6 different game modes for me, or 6 different places. Daredevil, Modern, Punisher. You'll see a lot of similarities. You'll see a lot of reoccurring characters and ideas here for myself. Like Shadow King shows up a lot. There's one game mode, Battle World, that Shadow King and the Astral team just succeed in. You put it on auto and they just steamroll it. So he's important. That's the only team important for that game mode. So not just Battle World, but, you know, Crucible, Dark Dimensions. Shadow King is a very important character. Same thing with Old Man Logan. I dropped Old Man Logan from my Xavier Saga sheet because he gets cloned and then he destroys your team, but he's still a very useful and good character. He's a great character, and we're about to get diamonds on him soon. So take a quick look at this and figure out how many times the character shows up that you're interested in, or, like I said before, do your own homework for this. Figure out what characters you want to use in these game modes and plan it out, because it'll help you prioritize which character to work on. If you're sitting there with skill gear and you're like, oh, should I invest in, oh, I don't know, let's say, ooh, give me a skill character. I don't know, whatever. Let's do Mutant instead, because I can see 2 mutants from here. So do I invest in Nightcrawler, or do I invest in the new Emma? And it's like, Nightcrawler is a very good character. I think Nightcrawler is a great character. He's even seen some arena use within the last few months to juice turn meter. But the new Emma has taken over that mantle of a more important mutant character. So you can kind of see where I'm going with this. You only get so much gear. You can only prioritize so many characters. I would create a list like this for yourself, or use mine if you want, to see your priority list. Alright everybody, that concludes my new player or returning player character farming priority video. There are a few places I think we could optimize the characters and the selections within this list, but this list was between reusing characters and using the best in slot, trying to fuse those two ideas. Let me know y'all's thoughts down below. Follow, comment, and subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content. See you all in the next video or live on Twitch.